Have you ever wondered about the mysterious lineage of Jesus? In the Bible, information about his grandmother is scarcely mentioned. However, apocryphal Gospels reveal a fascinating story. Anna, a figure once scorned by society, was uniquely chosen by God. According to these texts, Anna is the mother of Mary, making her the grandmother of Jesus. Her life reflects the image of a woman steadfast in faith, even when faced with societal disdain for being childless for many years. Amid this suffering, Anna prayed and trusted in God's intervention, and as a result, she was blessed with Mary, an event that changed the course of human history. The absence of Anna in canonical scriptures raises a significant question. Why was such a pivotal figure in the history of redemption excluded from the official texts we commonly read? Join us as we uncover the reasons. Don't forget to like this video if you find it insightful. Your support not only motivates us to deliver more quality content, but also helps the YouTube algorithm prioritize this video to reach more people. Let's spread this extraordinary story together. To seek answers, we'll travel back to the early Christian era, when church leaders carefully deliberated which writings would become the official New Testament. During this process, the Protoevangelium of James, a text containing the miraculous story of Anna and the wondrous birth of Mary, was excluded and classified as apocryphal. Why was such a meaningful story overlooked? Perhaps because its specific details did not align with the theological priorities and evangelistic goals of the church at that time. Yet Anna's story, representing extraordinary resilience and divine purpose, silently persists through the Protoevangelium of James. This ancient text remains a hidden treasure, waiting to be rediscovered, shedding new light on Anna's vital role in God's redemptive plan. This remarkable tale begins with a surprising truth that few know. Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, is not merely a minor figure in the history of faith, but a vivid testament to God's mercy and miraculous plan. Contrary to the greatness of the role she was destined to take on, Anna once faced contempt and ostracism from society for a deeply painful reason: infertility. In her era, infertility was not only a personal sorrow, but also perceived as a sign of divine rejection. Women who were barren often lived under the shadow of shame and whispers of prejudice. The absence of children stripped a woman of her societal value, leaving her in isolation and despair. Yet just as all hope seemed lost, God chose Anna for a grand and sacred mission: to become the mother of Mary, who would bear the Messiah to redeem humanity. This powerful divine intervention transformed Anna's story from tragedy into a message of hope and enduring faith. Once again, God demonstrated that He never forgets those who persist in trusting Him, no matter how the world rejects them. Imagine the depth of such pain for a woman like Anna in that era. Infertility was not just a personal tragedy, but a public humiliation, a mark of failure imposed by a harsh society. Anna's situation was even more dire because she belonged to the royal lineage of King David, the prophesied line through which the Messiah, humanity's Redeemer, would come. Yet year after year passed and her womb remained empty, a painful silence to her prayers and supplications. While other families rejoiced in the arrival of children, each day for Anna was another cut into her fading hope. The whispers and judgmental glances from others grew harsher. How could a childless woman possibly play a crucial role in the messianic lineage? How could she fulfill the ancient prophecy? These questions hung over her like an invisible sentence, weighing heavily on her life. But it was precisely in the depths of despair, when human hope was extinguished, that God began His greatest plan. Through Anna, a powerful message echoed: with man, this is impossible, but not with God. All things are possible with God. Mark 10:27. Her story was not just one of pain, but of faith, and the miraculous response of God to those who endure in hope. To understand Anna's profound struggle, we must return to the spiritual and social context of Israel at that time. Under foreign rule, God's people were mired in despair and longing for divine deliverance. All eyes were fixed on the promise of the Messiah, a direct descendant of King David who would come to free them from oppression. In this heavy atmosphere, every woman of David's lineage bore the weight of expectation to become the bridge that would fulfill the prophecy. Few, however, endured pain as deep as Anna, who stood on the brink of despair. At that time, infertility was not merely a personal issue, but seen as a sign of divine rejection. In Israelite society, where fertility was regarded as a blessing from God, barrenness was labeled as punishment or unbelief. Women like Anna were cloaked in stigma and pushed into the shadows of oblivion. They had no voice in the community, and their identity was tied to their ability to provide an heir for their family. Without children, Anna was not only looked down upon, but also seen as a symbol of failure in the eyes of society. Yet amidst that darkness, something extraordinary was unfolding. God's plan surpassed human judgment and challenged societal limitations. God did not forget Anna. He looked beyond her outward inability and saw her faithful heart and resilient faith. As Isaiah 55:8-9 declares, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Through Anna, God reminds us that what humans deem impossible, He transforms into magnificent miracles. To a society fixated on outward appearances, God chose Anna to fulfill one of the most sacred missions, to give birth to the mother of the Savior. Anna's story continues as a profound testament to unshakable faith and divine miracles, where immense trials are intricately woven with the highest purpose in God's redemptive plan. She not only bore the pain of infertility, but also carried the historic responsibility of being a bridge for God's promise to be fulfilled. Anna was born into a noble family, a direct descendant of King David, during a time of crisis and great anticipation for the people of Israel. The community awaited the Messiah, a Savior who would deliver them from oppression. From a young age, Anna's life was surrounded by sacred stories of God's promises to the patriarchs of Israel. The prophecies that the Messiah would come from the lineage of David were not only a family pride, but also a divine burden placed on every woman in the lineage. In a household steeped in religious devotion, Anna grew up with a strong awareness of the sacred heritage she carried. Stories of the great King David were more than history. They were constant reminders of her family's responsibility to God's people. Upon entering marriage, the pain of infertility was not just a personal disgrace, but also raised profound questions about God's faithfulness and whether David's line could truly bring forth the Messiah. As Anna matured, the weight of her responsibilities grew heavier. She was not only taught in religious faith, but also deeply instilled with the cultural and traditional values of the people of Israel. As a descendant of King David, young Anna was more than an ordinary girl in the community. She was a symbol of hope for an entire nation. She was seen as an indispensable part of God's grand design, a potential bearer of the royal lineage destined to bring forth the Messiah as foretold by prophecy. At that time, Israeli society placed great hope in those of Davidic lineage, and Anna was no exception. Her marriage was not just a union of two individuals, but a step toward fulfilling God's sacred promises. Her family and community, along with those following ancient prophecies, viewed Anna's life as a sign of imminent salvation. They believed she would continue the royal lineage, ushering in a new generation that would bring deliverance to the people of Israel. In her youth, Anna met Joachim, a man also of noble lineage and renowned for his deep faith. They shared the same spiritual heritage and devotion to God's sacred promises. Their relationship was a union of fidelity and faith, recognized by society as a marriage of great significance, potentially fulfilling God's redemptive plan. This marriage was celebrated in an atmosphere of joy, with everyone believing it was only a matter of time before Anna gave birth to the anticipated descendant of David, the Messiah who would bring salvation to the world. However, Anna's story did not unfold as many expected. It took an unexpected turn, filled with challenges and pain, as her journey of faith proved far from easy, and her sacred dreams faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles. As the years went by, the longing for a child burned within her, gradually turning into a heavy burden. Anna and her husband knew that children were a direct blessing from God. In the society they lived in, childlessness was not merely a personal issue, but a negative mark in the eyes of the community. Women unable to bear children were seen as cursed or punished for some hidden sin known only to God. Initially, Anna's worries might have been mild anxieties, but over time they grew into a darkness that overshadowed her daily life, something she could neither escape nor resolve. Her once hopeful prayers now became filled with sorrow and despair, as if God no longer heard her. The community, once full of respect and admiration for Anna and Joachim, began whispering behind their backs. Sympathetic looks turned into judgmental stares, filled with suspicion and pain. If God hasn't given them children, perhaps there's something we don't know, some began to murmur. The women of the village, once friendly, now whispered among themselves when Anna passed by, exchanging doubtful and judgmental remarks. Why hasn't God blessed her with the gift of motherhood, they wondered, their gazes filled with doubt. Rumors began to spread, suggesting a deep, hidden sin in Anna's life that rendered her unworthy of having children, unworthy of God's grace. During these years, Anna's life became a series of conflicting emotions, oscillating between hope and despair. The questions she asked herself grew harsher, like a persistent, unrelenting ache that was impossible to escape. Both husband and wife prayed day and night, ceaselessly pleading for an answer from God, seeking reassurance that they were not forgotten. Anna wrestled with an intense inner struggle. She knew she was part of a great lineage destined to bring forth the Messiah, yet the heavens remained silent. Her steadfast faith was now tested in ways it had never been before. God's silence deepened her pain, and with each passing day she felt the promise grow more distant. Year after year they began to feel hopeless. Joachim, always by her side, couldn't escape his own profound sorrow. In their society, infertility was often blamed on the woman rather than the man, yet both Anna and Joachim bore the suffering equally. Visits to the temple, once moments of spiritual unity, now became painful reminders of unanswered prayers. Religious festivals, where God's people gathered to celebrate and worship, weighed heavily on Anna and Joachim, burdened by the emptiness in their hearts. Every service and every prayer heightened their awareness of God's silence. As the years passed, their hearts grew weary, consumed by a sense of despair. Yet though their faith was tested, it did not break. It was a relentless battle between hope and discouragement, belief and despair. Joachim, unable to alleviate the burden of sorrow, could do nothing but witness the silent suffering of the woman he loved. He began to sense the community's gaze turning colder with every festival and public prayer, as if they were being judged, amplifying their pain. After a long day of prayer and reflection, Joachim decided to leave the community and retreat to the wilderness, following the example of great patriarchs like Abraham and Moses. In the stillness, he hoped to find the clarity needed to hear God's voice. The shame and feelings of unworthiness due to their childlessness made him feel increasingly alienated from his community, filling him with profound loneliness. Alone in the silence of nature, he prayed for a sign or an explanation of why their prayers remained unanswered. Meanwhile, Anna, left at home, continued her sorrowful prayers, her spirit breaking under the weight of God's silence. Through years of fervent prayer, it seemed as if the answers she longed for would never come. Her prayers, instead of igniting hope, only plunged her deeper into despair. The community began to question and wonder if God had turned his back on her. Yet despite everything, Anna remained steadfast in her faith, holding on against all odds. Amid this pain, Anna began to think that perhaps God's plan was something beyond her understanding, and her suffering might be part of a greater purpose. In these darkest moments, an extraordinary event occurred. According to the Protoevangelium of James, as Anna prayed beneath a tree, a radiant light suddenly enveloped her. Then a heavenly figure appeared before her, an angel of the Lord, bringing news that would completely transform her life. What happened next? Stay with us to find out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to receive our latest videos, where we bring you fascinating and profound insights into the Bible and faith. With a voice full of love and power, the angel said to Anna, "Anna, Anna, the Lord has heard your prayer. You will conceive and bear a child, and your offspring will be known across the earth." In an instant, all the years of pain and scorn from the community vanished. Anna, who for so many years believed she had been forgotten by God, now heard directly from the angel that not only would she be blessed with a child, but this child would carry a divine mission beyond any mother's dreams. The angel's promise was not merely an answer to Anna's longing for motherhood, but a message of a grand mission she was to be part of. Meanwhile, Joachim also received a visit from an angel. As he prayed in solitude, feeling unworthy, the angel appeared amidst his sorrow and said, "Joachim, do not fear, the Lord has heard your prayers. Your wife, Anna, will conceive a child, and that child will be great in the eyes of the Lord." Joachim's heart overflowed with joy and amazement. The angel's announcement swept away years of suffering in an instant. He hurried to return to Anna and share this life-changing news. Upon his return from the desert, he saw a radiant glow on Anna's face that he had never seen before. Without a word, he only needed to look into her eyes to know that what he experienced in the desert was not a dream. God had spoken to them both. The silence of past years was shattered and the divine promise was fulfilled. The whispers and scorn of the community no longer mattered, for both believed that God's timing and plans were perfect. The joyful days that followed were beyond words. Anna, who had endured decades of suffering, was finally pregnant. Within her womb was the fruit of countless prayers, a divine miracle that would change the course of history. This child was not merely a descendant of the house of David. She would be the mother of the one who would bring salvation to the world, Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary's birth was the most tangible evidence of God's unconditional faithfulness. Anna and Joachim, once scorned by society, now found themselves at the heart of God's grand plan for the salvation of humanity. What man rejected, God chose, demonstrating that his ways and timing are perfect even if they seem mysterious to us. Anna's story carries a profound message. God always hears our sincere prayers and deepest desires, even when heaven seems silent. Through her life, we see that God's plans surpass anything humans can dream or imagine. What seemed like a story of disappointment became the foundation for the Savior's arrival. Anna, a woman beyond childbearing age, gave birth to a girl named Mary after years of waiting and through a miraculous blessing. While women over 60 rarely conceive naturally, the Bible reminds us that nothing is impossible with God. Once ridiculed for her infertility, Anna now witnessed a divine intervention that transformed not only her life, but also impacted all of humanity. Holding her daughter in her arms brought Anna an overwhelming sense of peace. Mary's extraordinary birth set her apart to become the mother of the Messiah, the Savior humanity had long awaited. Though Anna's life seemed forsaken by God, in her old age, he honored her with a blessing beyond imagination. Mary's birth brought immeasurable joy to Anna and Joachim, while serving as a clear sign of God's power and faithfulness. As Mary grew, Anna and Joachim felt deeply that their daughter's life was tied to a divine mission they could not fully comprehend. Their years with Mary were filled with joy and gratitude, but they also recognized the great responsibility of being chosen by God to nurture this special child. Mary was not only a light to their family, but also a beacon of hope for all humanity. From an early age, Mary displayed humility and devotion far beyond her years. Her actions and words radiated a divine peace, as though God's hand was upon her from the very beginning. Though Anna and Joachim did not know what the future held, they constantly reminded themselves that Mary was part of a divine plan beyond human understanding. One day they received a clear instruction that Mary was to be consecrated to the temple, a step marking the beginning of her great mission. With hearts full of love and a touch of sorrow, Anna and Joachim brought Mary to the temple, knowing it was part of God's plan. They entrusted Mary to the temple and placed their faith in God, believing he would guide her life in the best way. As Mary matured, Anna became her first spiritual mentor, recounting the magnificent stories of faith from God's promise to Abraham to the sacred covenant with David. Through these stories, Anna emphasized God's faithfulness and how he always works far beyond human understanding. These were not just historical accounts. They carried profound meaning, instilling in Mary a deep reverence for God and an unwavering faith in his mysterious plan. Anna did more than share stories. She taught Mary the noble values of humility and faith through daily actions. With exceptional spiritual sensitivity, Anna nurtured a pure heart in Mary, one that was always ready to embrace God's will, even when it challenged human logic and understanding. Anna often told Mary, "Let God's will be done in you as he fulfilled it in our ancestors." Moments of prayer formed the core of their lives. Anna and Mary often withdrew to a quiet corner of their modest home where they held hands in silence, lifting their hearts to the Almighty to seek wisdom and strength. In those quiet hours, Anna noticed a radiant peace in Mary's eyes, a peace that transcended ordinary emotions. Those eyes, seemingly lit by a divine spark, reflected devotion and complete surrender to God. Anna was certain that the Spirit of God was working extraordinarily in her daughter's life. Indeed, many traditional and apocryphal sources mention that Mary was prepared from an early age to be a sacred instrument in God's plan. According to the Protoevangelium of James, Mary was consecrated to God from her infancy, lived in the temple, and grew up in a holy environment. As a mother, Anna not only imparted knowledge but also nurtured Mary's soul, transforming their prayers into a bridge to the Almighty. This underscores Anna's central role in preparing Mary for her monumental mission, becoming the mother of the Savior. Those who fear the Lord lack no good thing. Psalm 34:9. Through Anna's life and teachings, this verse came to life as she devoted herself to guiding Mary in faith, helping her understand that everything that happens is part of God's wondrous plan. Anna's life, though filled with blessings from Mary's birth, was not without trials. As an older woman who bore a child late in life, her health often limited her ability to take on all responsibilities. Yet, her unwavering faith in God became her source of strength. Anna understood that her time with Mary was finite, and the greatest legacy she could leave was a steadfast faith in the Almighty. Mary quietly learned resilience and virtue from her mother. Anna faced the lingering scorn of her past infertility with patience and composure, becoming a shining example of trust in God's mysterious plan. She taught Mary not just through words, but through a life marked by strength, humility, and profound faith. Psalm 31:24 states, "Be strong and take heart, all you who hope in the Lord." This steadfast spirit helped Anna prepare Mary for her great mission, instilling in her a deep sense of devotion and unwavering faith, ready to embrace God's will. In her later years, Anna looked back on her journey with a heart full of gratitude. The miraculous child she bore in her 60s, a response to her tireless prayers, was destined to bring the greatest gift to humanity: Jesus Christ, the Son of God. From the scorn of barrenness to the light of divine grace, Anna's life became a living testament to the power of faith and perseverance through trials. Anna's story reminds us that God's timing does not follow human timelines. When all hope seems lost, it is often then that God is quietly working, preparing blessings far beyond imagination. As Psalm 40 verse 1-3 says, "I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit and set my feet on a rock." Anna's life is a vivid illustration of how painful trials can become stepping stones to God's greater plan. Through Anna's journey, we learn that faith is not merely waiting for miracles, but trusting that even in suffering, God is weaving a story beyond our understanding, a story that brings redemption and hope to all humanity. As time passed, Anna watched Mary grow into a young woman with intelligence far beyond her years. The years spent raising Mary with faith and prayer culminated in a pure heart and profound spiritual preparation. In the humble village of Nazareth, events were quietly shaping Mary's life, setting the stage not just for her future, but for the transformation of human history. When the time came, Anna and Joaquín honored their sacred promise. They brought Mary to the temple to dedicate her life to God. It was a vow made through tears that if God granted them a child, the child would be devoted to his service. In that moment, Anna's heart overflowed with pride and sorrow, knowing that parting with Mary was an integral part of the divine plan she could not alter. Yet, Anna trusted completely that God's will surpassed all personal desires and emotions. The act of dedicating Mary to the temple was not only an expression of profound gratitude, but also a reflection of Anna's steadfast faith. Despite the inevitable pain of separation, Anna understood that Mary was not just a gift to their family, but to all humanity. With a heart full of trust, she entrusted Mary to God, confident that his mysterious yet perfect plan was unfolding. It was this foundation of faith that Anna instilled in Mary that taught her to surrender her life entirely to God. Years later, when the angel Gabriel appeared with the message that she would become the mother of the Messiah, Mary responded without hesitation, "I am the servant of the Lord. May it be done to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. Mary's willingness to obey and embrace God's will, even in the face of the unknown, was not something she gained overnight. It was a precious lesson she learned from her mother, Anna. Through loving and spiritual nurturing, Anna planted the seeds of strong faith in Mary, preparing her for the divine mission ordained before time began. With profound wisdom and a devoted heart, Anna became a steadfast foundation in Mary's life. Yet, as with every journey of faith, her earthly life came to a quiet and peaceful close. According to apocryphal writings, Anna lived to see Mary grow into a young woman full of grace, but she did not witness the miraculous events that followed. Anna was not present in Bethlehem when her grandson Jesus was born, nor did she witness his salvific mission unfold. Even so, she departed this world with unwavering faith, entrusting Mary's destiny entirely into God's hands. Anna's legacy did not end with her passing. It lived on in the teachings she imparted to Mary. Her lessons on steadfast faith, humility, and surrender shaped Mary into a woman ready to embrace her monumental divine calling. When Mary entered into marriage with Joseph, she carried all her mother's teachings, applying them to the new challenges of her life. Anna's life, though humble and quiet compared to the great figures of the Bible, radiates a sacred beauty, illustrating how God uses ordinary people to accomplish his extraordinary plans. Through her patience and strong faith, Anna nurtured a Mary filled with trust and readiness to accept the sacred role of being Jesus' mother. Anna's spiritual influence extended far beyond her small family in Nazareth, leaving an enduring mark on the history of humanity's redemption. Anna's story reminds us that our sacrifices and sufferings, though seemingly insignificant in the present, can leave a lasting impact on future generations. The trials we face are tools God uses to shape and prepare us for greater purposes we cannot yet comprehend. Take a moment to reflect on Anna's life. Close your eyes and let her story resonate in your heart, reminding you that even in the darkest moments, God is quietly at work. Think about the promises he has made to you, remembering that his plans, though mysterious, are always filled with love and purpose. Like Anna, you too may be contributing to a legacy of faith that extends far beyond your understanding, guiding others closer to him. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay updated with our latest videos. Thank you for joining us today. See you in the next video, and may the peace and light of God always guide and accompany you.